Good afternoon. My name is Mac and I'm the founder for Feyday. Welcome back to this series of entrepreneurship via acquisition. In today's itself, we have Dr. Tan, who is the Deputy MD for tmesystems, which is a test and measurement product distribution company for Asia Pacific region. So, hi Dr. Tan. Will you be able to give a bit of an introduction about yourself?
Yes, thank you very much for having me in this event. Myself, I'm basically a retired engineer for many years. I started my working life in 1980 in Philips Electronics in Toa Payoh. Then after that, I moved various functions in Philips from product design, quality, production, engineering, and then I left Philips to start my own business in 1993 at December. Then after that, the company was a startup with 3 people, and then I slowly grew it up until 2009, where it was acquired by a listed company. I stayed on for 3 years, and then after that, I joined A-Star, our Singapore Government Research Institute, Infocom Research Institute, for 3.5 years. And then after that, I joined GovTech for a year. And then after GovTech, I was in ST Engineering, Land System. I was involved in autonomous bus system for 3.5 years. And then I wanted to retire, but friends keep calling me to help them in their business, various companies. My current role as a deputy MD in tmesystems is basically helping a friend of mine to help him transform his company from a certain size, and he wants to grow to a certain size. So this is where I am today.
Got it. Wow, you have quite a long history in terms of your exposure in different things, right?
I job hop when I'm older.
Ah, nice. It sounds like you have a very interesting run, huh? So back to yourself. You mentioned that you at one point of time you were in Philips. You were there in various roles, right?
Yes, correct.
Are you able to share with me like what kind of roles were you in when you were working for Philips?
Yeah. I started my working life as a product designer, designing RF radio frequency communication. Then in there, I was designing products, new generation of products for Philips. I was there about 3 years in R&D. Then after that, Philips decided to move me to quality department because in the 80s they were having quality problem, so they asked for volunteers to take over a management role. So I went in to help them turn the production round to bring the quality up, because there were a lot of overseas reject from there.
Sure.
And then after that, they moved me to production, engineering. Then after that, I went into engineering because one of my interests was to automate the factory. They actually job rotate me to multiple functions because it's preparation of going up in career in Philips.
Nice. So you are like in today what they call it as management trainee. Back then you
correct. It was one of the earlier management without calling a training. They throw you inside the difficult problems to solve.
Great. Wow.
So in a sense, in Philips, I had the opportunity of handling difficult jobs, which I like difficult jobs.
Nice.
Because you learn the most.
Yeah, I bet so. So you were in product development.
Yes.
You are in quality, production.
Yes.
And
engineering.
Yeah. So wow, all the hard stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So do you have any commercial experience, like dealing with customers doing commercial strategies, business development in Philips before you jump into your...
No, absolutely zero. Because in Philips, I was doing more on the product supply to customer.
Sure.
The only customer engagement I had was the most difficult was quality department, where I'm a professional apologizer. When there are customer complaint, I have to go on site on US, I go to Europe, I go to Australia to apologize for Philips on behalf of Philips.
Got it. I mean, I don't think it's easy, right?
Yeah.
There's quality issue and customers are probably unhappy.
Yeah.
So back to this itself, customer relationship is important.
Yes.
The impression of the customers of your companies, everything. I think it constitutes in today what they call it as customer renewal, right?
Yeah.
Renew your contract, or otherwise I'll get a new vendor in, right?
Right.
How do you make sure that for anyone in this role today, whereby they have to deal with upset customers, what are some tips that you can give in this area?
Most of the time when customers are not happy, just like in multinational, actually it's a big problem for them because our products will ship out from Singapore, they reach their shore, and then sometimes they are waiting to go into Christmas sales. The minute there is quality problem, their reputation is at stake, and then once they sell the product, it goes inside the customer is already gone.
Yes.
So this sort of problem comes out, then what we do is that we have to go on site to actually see the actual problem. You cannot look at just paper information. In the old days, we got teletext. You will see people complaining to teletext coming in. You see a line, but the relationship with the line, you don't feel it. I basically went to actual customer site, warehouse, to see the actual rejects. Then you see for yourself, it is really very real.
Yeah.
You feel the pain.
Yes, I hear you. You need to see the
Actual problem.
Actual problem.
Yes.
In your opinion itself, are this problem preventable?
Yes. Some of the problems, you see, I think when you handle in a multinational clientele, we are multinational supply. We go to steers, big multinational buyers. You do not go there to explain, to give reasons that it didn't happen. They are professionals also.
Yeah.
They are not there to pick you whether you're right. They also have a vested interest to sell your product.
Yes.
So in a way, you just have to accept that it's a problem. Whether it is caused by you or it's caused by transport, it's caused by warehouse, you just have to accept it.
Yes.
So that's what I did. I just accept it's a problem. Once you accept it's a problem, I think the customer will tend to be a bit more listening mode. If you go there to disagree with them, when the problem is there and you point other reasons, they'll be very upset with you.
Got it. So aside from taking accountability, right?
Yeah.
What other qualities or what other traits is important in order to smoothen, in order to address such frictionless relationship?
I think the important part is that when they give a feedback on reject, you need to respond immediately.
Okay.
And then internally, what we did was that we go to the production line and try to verify what they claim.
Okay.
That means that you need to check. And sometimes the problem is not in the production line, it's in the warehouse. Where example, some of the problems we did not anticipate was when the product is put on the warehouse, the workers sometimes drop the product.
Yes.
And then they put it back.
Yeah.
So whereas in the production, we didn't see the problem, but the customer see the problem. So that means that it's in a warehouse. It's dropped by the warehouse staff.
Got it. So you have to not only take prompt action, you also have to act as an investigator.
Yes.
to
Correct.
find out the root cause issue.
Correct. There's no choice because at the end of the day, one production line in Philips per day, one shift, produce 1,000 sets. And we got 20 production lines. You
Wow.
can imagine the volume.
Wow.
And we run 1.5 shift.
Wow. That's
So the volume is very high in those
Yeah.
days.
So every day
If you don't debug, it just keep going out of the factory.
understand. So I mean, you have worked Philips in those days. It's a very renowned.
Yes.
This is like
High volume production, yes.
yeah, they are like the top brand, right?
Yes.
And you work for them before you start your own business.
Yes, correct.
What can you share a bit more about the own business that you started?
Okay. How I started the business was when I was in Philips, I was in engineering. We were building production facility.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were building production facility, we tried to get local companies to outsource to build things for us. We try not to build things in-house because it's more expensive. Correct. And the opportunity came is when I tried to outsource test systems, I couldn't find local companies which can build test system for me. They can build conveyor system, they can build mechanical assembly, but test, I always got to get from Europe.
So that's where your inspiration comes.
Yes, that's where, because if I cannot get it in Singapore, means the companies don't exist.
Correct.
And then I said to myself, it cannot be Philips have that need. There must be other companies having the same need.
Correct.
Test system. So in a sense, I found that there's a niche to start because it's an experience I have. So I have to build everything in Philips. Whereas I wanted to outsource. We had the money to outsource.
Yes.
But there was no supplier, vendor to do it for us.
Got it. So it's in Philips that you found this golden opportunity in a way.
I wanted to outsource.
Yeah.
But
indirectly.
there was none. So there must be a gap, correct?
Yeah. Sometimes the goal is found in the niche.
Yeah. But in Europe, those companies exist.
Is it very common back then in Europe?
In Europe, it's more common.
It's more common.
So that's where I realized that if those companies can exist in Singapore, in Europe, there must be possibility it can exist in Singapore.
I'm sure. Got it. Okay, so you decide to
build a test system company. Yes.
Test system. So back then you started with two other employees.
Two other employees.
So okay, that was in which year itself?
1994.
1994.
Yeah.
So when can you share with me, because a lot of the startup founders, right, especially B2B, when they just first started, they have problem getting customers. That's a very common. So can you share with me how was your customer acquisition process like in your first 2 years?
Okay, the difference in me is that because I have been working from almost 13 years in Philips before I start my company.
Sure.
So I knew suppliers, I knew vendors, I knew the ecosystem in Singapore. And because of that, it gives me access to many information, what is available in the market.
Correct.
Then I also knew that some of the subcontractors of Philips, and they knew me. So when I came out from Philips to start my own company, I had the good fortune on some of my suppliers in Philips actually helped me by giving me starting business. Because you work with them, you help them not with a motive. You know, in the days when you are the people in charge, you don't go there and be arrogant and then say, you play the big boy game. I help them when they got problem. They always remember me for that. So when I came out, some of them always ask me, say, hey, Doctor, if you need any contact, just let me know to enter which company. They will help me to introduce. So in a way, I think it's more that when you are on a job, you are in position, you try to help the smaller companies.
Yeah, got it. makes sense.
So I always use this analogy. When you are in Philips, you carry a card, you have a name, you got a company logo. When you leave Philips, that company logo is disappear. Your name card got no logo. So the question goes back, actually, who are you? So I am very sensitive to that because I realized that when I was in Philips, you have a lot of influence, you can issue PO, but you are an employee in Philips.
Correct.
But when you're out of Philips, you are actually a nobody.
True. So in your opinion itself, for anyone starting their own business, especially in the B2B side of things, what should they do when they just started out to get customers, right? Because nothing beats getting customer in your first few period, right? Yeah.
So I will say that for people who plan to go on their startup, while they are working in a company, let's say you are employed in a bigger company, can be ST Engineering, can be Singtel. Try to build up your contacts in the areas of the business where you intend to go out.
Okay.
Because you need to know what is the ecosystem, how people are doing it, and then you build relationship with them. And then by doing that, when you decide to leave, you also know what are the risks and where are the network relationship you can build up. Because at the end of the day, when you first start up, there's a lot of constraint on you. You need a lot of help.
Correct. So, okay, got it. How long did it take for your business to be profitable? Is it in your first year? Or?
No. My type of company was just too technical. Every project you do, you have to work.
Correct.
So that is a project business. I only managed to break even in 5 years.
5 years.
Most companies do it in 3, but I did it in 5. It was a very long process for me.
Any particular reason as to why 5 years?
First is getting staff.
Correct.
In a my type of company where it's an engineering design company,
wow,
the type of people you recruit needs to have a certain technical ability.
Correct.
Because if you bring them in, they cannot deliver, you have to keep paying monthly salary.
Correct.
Then if they cannot deliver on the project gets delayed, we still have to pay salary.
True.
That means that your burn rate is fixed. But if you cannot deliver, you cannot invoice, you cannot get money back.
Correct.
Then at the same time, because if you have inexperienced staff, project gets into delivery problem, you cannot also collect money. So there was a lot of problem because of lack of experience.
So getting skilled labor or skilled talent
Yes.
is the biggest hurdle.
It's the biggest hurdle for me.
So in your case, your challenge doesn't come in getting customer.
Yes.
Customer, no issue.
Yes.
It's the getting the right people on board that is the problem.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
wow.
how I resolved that? Then in about the second year, I managed to get my ex-staff in Philips who went to NTU to study. I convinced them to join me. 2 of them joined me. Then I had these 2 guys as a key guy to teach, to mentor the younger ones who comes in.
Okay.
So that means that you bring the fresh ones from school. They can learn, they have the skill, but somebody must babysit them to do the work, to project delivery. Whereas I go and collect the PO.
Correct.
So you need the one guy to go and handle, to bring business, one guy to babysit the engineer, to train them to grow up. And then it works.
Yeah. Wow. So your this technical guy, senior technical guy,
Yes.
is really literally, aside yourself, he's like the backbone.
Yes. Correct.
Wow. You are the head, but he's the backbone.
I need that. Yes, because it's not like a typical trading company where you buy the equipment and then you can sell. You don't need so much support, because project business is every project you do, you have to spend time doing it well. So of course the margin is good, but the risk is also very high.
Is it possible for you to clinch a project, then not be able to deliver?
We had issues in the early days, was like that, but it was also going to do with I have to assess the skill of my guys, how ready are they, and then depends on the project we take. It's not a simple thing that is ready. It's not like a ready-made product. We have to customize the design to suit the customer's requirement. Because it wasn't a trading company. If it's something they can buy from, let's say, from Europe or US,
Correct.
I have no advantage there.
Correct. Yeah. Why go through you?
Why go through me?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting, huh? Because a lot of the times, most business that I talk to, getting customer is the biggest pain point. Getting staff, yes, but it's when they start to grow to the mid stage or scale it, then this is where. But yours is inverse, right?
I got two walls to fight.
Yeah.
One is acquisition of customer, and then the other one is delivery.
Got it. Oh, okay. So you took 5 years. So how do you manage to survive the first 5 years?
Of course, we make money, we lose, because it's a project business. You make money, very dry. You make money, but you have to cover the profit you make covers the no income months. So it was difficult. But of course, we also have salary reduction during the early days, because it was also touch and go sometimes. At that point, it was quite tough.
It's quite tough, huh? Wow. You must be very lucky to have a very understanding spouse, huh? Yeah. Wow. Not so easy. In fact, on my side, I have spoken to many entrepreneurs. Sometimes the cash flow part during the starting phase, it's particularly stressful. Yeah. When do you sold your business?
I sold my business in 2009.
So you started your business in
1994.
1994, 2009, so 15 years.
But the business changed. So maybe I give you the history. When I first started, it was a test system business, production test, because it was something I knew in Philips. Then in the late 90s, I was supporting Philips to transfer production line to build test system for them in Shenzhen. And when I went to Shenzhen, their factory, one factory, 60 production line.
Wow.
And in Philips, in Toa Payoh, we got 20, and we think it's big already. We go there, it's 60, it's even bigger. And when I went there, I realized that I think Singapore is going to move out already. And if Philips move, there'll be a lot more multinational moving. So that was in the late 90s. Then, while we were getting good business still, in Philips, we were one of the key suppliers for them. And I knew that I got to open up a new business, completely different business. Because if the production is moving to China, what are we going to do in Singapore?
So you anticipate the shifting of tides.
It's going to happen. So, of course, I have to open up a new business. Then the question comes is, what business? There's always this question, you want to shift to a new business, then your people are not there in that business, there'll be a new business line.
Got it.
So what I did was that I decided to go into civil engineering.
Civil engineering?
Completely different from
wow, that's a huge pivot.
on the surface, it looks different, but in civil engineering, I was building data acquisition system. That means that measurement system. But using the electronics background, which we have built up over the years in Philips, we pivot into civil engineering. That means that we measure building movements, vibration, earth earth movements. Why we do that? Because when I saw Singapore is going to build MRT lines, and I found that there's a lot of instrumentation measurement in the civil engineering. The profit we have built up in the test and measurement for electronics, so I use it to invest, to build up, to transform my team to civil engineering. That means that while maintaining this business, the electronic, where I know it's going to die, I start a new business, don't have big clientele, slowly invest, and then enter the area.
Wow, that's a very bold move.
But we know the end game will come.
So, when did you pivot into this new direction?
In the late 90s, when in the 90s, in the late 90s, Singapore is building MRT lines.
Yeah.
And then I happened to meet up with civil engineers who are friends of mine, and they were complaining to me that the quality of graduates enter civil engineering is getting lower and lower because building was in a slum during the 90s. Then in my mind was when the industry is going down, the brightest do not enter civil engineering. The brightest will go for other industry. So that means that there will be a shortage of capable people in civil engineering.
That's a very nice insight. So when an industry is going down,
the best one don't go in.
One won't enter it.
Yeah.
So
but 3 years time, 4 years time, those people will be coming out to the industry to get jobs.
Yeah. So okay. So right now the question is, what industry is going down so that we know that the brightest people are not entering into this sector.
Singapore don't have big sectors anymore.
Yes.
In the old days, you can see handphone, computers, all that. Those are big industry. But today, those industries are gone.
Yeah.
There's no big employer in Singapore. Big ones.
Yeah, you're right. We are right now. I think Singapore's economy is pretty diversified.
Yes.
We have like aviation, we have like healthcare, we have like events.
Yeah.
We have financial sectors. All across the board lah.
On one hand, it's good because you can stand on many legs.
Yeah.
On one hand, the other hand is bad because you don't have economy of scale.
Yes, you're right. It's quite the opposite game compared to like
In the
what
old
Hong
days,
Kong is doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you sold your business. Are you able to share with me like at that point of time when you sold the business, what prompted you to do so, and the why and the how do you do so?
Okay. When I pivot to civil engineering sector, I grew it from scratch. It was basically no business. I just built it up from scratch. So what I did at the first few parts, I went to take projects from the university civil engineering department.
Okay.
That means that there are civil engineering department in NUS, NTU.
Mm-hmm.
So I tender for contracts, I build it up, I build relationship with them, and I actually learned from the professors in the university. So I built up my credentials, and then over time, I enter into what they call temporary strut measurement, construction measurement, where in Singapore, when we build a MRT tunnel, it's called cut and cover. They basically cut the soil out, and then they put diaphragm wall, and in the diaphragm wall they got struts. So it's to put the strength, so that it's to make sure that there's no overstress, the wall will collapse. So I was doing that. I went to apply for government grant. IDA gave me some grant. And at that time, Spring also gave me some grant. So small grant, but it's to test out the market myself. It covers some of my costs. So I went to take projects, not to make profit. It's basically to put my foot into those areas and then make yourself known in the area. So the part where my business grew in civil engineering was actually nickel hydrocolloids. So I was building the system And then when Nickel Highway collapsed, there was a court of inquiry. And in the court inquiry, they found out is that the system they are using cannot provide real-time alert when there are problems at the construction site. Whereas for me, I had already the system which was funded by IDA, so it was endorsed in a way that I have developed such system. Then from once after Nickel Highway collapsed, they approached me and they liked the system because they have to call a new tender because the line is going to be built.
Yes.
What spec are you going to put in the tender?
Correct.
So they have to update the spec. So
Correct.
They came and see me, and then it started from there that I got a lot of work from that side. But it took many years because one construction line is 3 years.
Sure.
So once you start, you have to go continuously for 3 years.